What's up, guys? All right, this YouTube episode is going to be a little bit different. Most of the time you guys see me doing a ton of fun shit, a lot of stuff that you want to watch. It's entertaining. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to bring you backstage. I'm speaking an event today, and I'm going to show you the entire speech. A lot of you guys bitch and complain about only seeing clips of the speech that I give. So we're going to show you the entire speech. We're going to be speaking today on leadership. So sit back, get your popcorn, get your water, whatever. We're going to go 25 minutes of a leadership speech, and I hope you take notes because you're going to learn some stuff.
Please welcome to the stage, Keaton The Muscle.
Oh my God. So excited about you, bro. Do your thing.
Where's Jimmy at? Jimmy, get up here. That last speech was wonderful. Get up here. Okay. I want you to raise your hand if Jimmy has changed your life. That's pretty cool. Now, and listen really carefully to what I say, I want you to stand up if he saved your life.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit, I was thinking like one or two people. That's pretty powerful.
It's cool, because I know their stories too.
Man, I'm really glad I got to share this moment with you. That's cool. Wow. That's a true leader. I want to start off by telling you, you are absolutely nuts if you're not following him and you're not in the we are the they group because of the value in which he brings. You guys just saw a few people stand up and say, he saved my life. The reason I wanted you to see that, because I wanted you to feel that, that's an incredible, incredible feeling. These events are awesome, but to know that you saved people's lives, that's a true leader. I wanted to tell you, I'm freaking proud of you, and I'm so honored to be able to run with you. Love you, bro.
Thank you.
Give Jimmy a hand. Jimmy's a leader, and he's saved and changed lives. It's pretty powerful to see people raise your hand and to see people stand up. I want you to ask a question to yourselves. Write on your piece of paper, how predictable am I? For those of you who don't know about diabetes, it's a horrible disease. And essentially, the blood sugar in your body raises and lowers, and as a diabetic, you have to take insulin to kind of control that. Well, when you don't have enough blood sugar, your brain can't function. So on a regular occasion, my father's blood sugar would go really low, and there's like 3 stages. You start to sweat a little bit, you start to get a little bit dizzy, then you start to become incoherent, almost as if you're drunk. And then the 4th stage, the scary stage, you go into convulsions because your blood sugar is so low, your body is literally saying, we need sugar now. At this point in my life, my dad had controlled it pretty well, but at this point, he was starting to get so sick, he was having these. So I run upstairs with my mom, and I've always been fairly big. Even at 10, I was like 210 pounds. I was a big boy. I run upstairs, and I run into my mom and dad's room, and my dad is slumped over, and he's convulsing. Now, there's nothing you can do once they've gotten to that stage as for feeding them. Normally, most people know when a diabetic goes low, you give them sugar, you give them an apple, you give them something. Well, we were far past that point. And I said, okay, 10 years old, what do we do? Mom says, I need you to hold him. And while you hold him, I'm going to get what's called a glucagon kit. And I'm going to pull out this glucagon kit. I'm going to draw the needle out. And I need you to hold him enough to where I can stab him in the leg with the glucagon kit. Because as he's convulsing, you can imagine trying to poke somebody with a needle is almost impossible. With the glucagon kit, it essentially sends sugar that's stored in your body to your blood. And it brings your levels back up. So I'm holding my father as he's convulsing for about 10 minutes. Felt like an eternity at a 10-year-old. I'm as lost as I can be. I'm 10 years old watching my father do this. Somebody who I looked up to, my dad was my hero. But I want to make a point. My dad wasn't a leader. He wasn't a leader because he couldn't be, and I'm going to share that with you why in just a second. He looks at me, and when people go into such low blood sugar, they actually don't remember anything. So he looked at me, he's like, what the hell are you doing in bed with me? I'm like, oh, hey, nice to see you, Dad. And we begin to have this conversation. Hey, this is some of the things that are going to be happening. And I need you to step up, and I need you to be there. Your mom isn't strong enough to be able to do this on her own. And as the oldest, I need you to be the man of the house when shit like this happens. I need you to step up. I'm 10. I just got done holding a father who's convulsing, shooting him up with a needle, and then he comes to and doesn't remember any of it. So as I hold him, I'm like, all right, whatever, Dad, I'm ready for this. From the ages of 10 until 21, I did that once or twice a month. Frantically waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, having my mom completely scared out of her mind as for what would happen every single month. I actually learned that I wasn't getting good sleep because every time I would go to bed, I had no consistency of an idea of whether that would happen or not. It was always in the back of my mind. In fact, anywhere we would go, because of this, the first thing on my mind, I would go snowmobiling with my dad, we would go play racquetball, we would go hiking, we would do all these things. And everywhere I went, there was this uncertainty. Like, what if? Do we have the glucagon kit, which we would carry with us? I carried it everywhere. What if he goes too low? What if I have to deal with this? When I was 21, right before he passed away, I remember the last time that it happened. I was alone in the room with him, and I wasn't paying attention. He was on oxygen, and I noticed he's starting to sweat, but it was too late. He had fallen out of his chair, and he was face down, convulsing. He broke his nose, convulsing. And I'm sitting there with a dying father by myself, holding him while I shot him up with the glucagon kit. That was one of the last memories I remember of my father. And I remember thinking in that moment, in that living room, this doesn't seem fair. Why do I have to do this? And one of our last conversations before my father passed away was, I need you to step up and I need you to lead your siblings. I need you to lead your mother. I need you to be the leader that you were born to be. I committed to him. I said, I'll do that. I'll be that. And when we had that conversation, that's when I began to dissect what it meant to be a leader. My father was a wonderful man, but there was never a foundation of predictability that I could ever build on. There was never a time in my entire growing up where I had a simple foundation of knowing this is predictable, this is what happens, and this is how I build. So the first thought that I began to build and grow, if I wish to be a leader, I must become predictable to the people around me in which I lead. Do you know why I have such a hard time with this world? Because this world is so filled with chaos and unpredictability. If you were to think about your childhood, your business, your life, you have been surrounded with chaos and unpredictability in everything. Life is crazy. But hopefully, and not everybody has this opportunity, hopefully you had someone in your life that was this sure rock, this sure foundation that gave you the predictability that you needed. And if you didn't, that's all the more reason for you to understand this principle. Now, I began to figure this out really quickly. I needed to create a foundation upon which those who followed me, those who counted on me, could rest. And I'm going to say that again. I created something that those around me could rest on. This life is so chaotic. There's so much bullshit and craziness in this life. Do you know what it's like to feel peace and rest? I didn't. I never felt it. I didn't even know what peace was when I was growing up. I didn't know what predictability was. I had no idea what a foundation was to build anything that I wanted to build. So as I began to figure this whole thing out of being a better leader, I realized I needed to make a commitment that I would be predictable to those I led. And I was asked to lead a lot really quickly. When my father passed away, I committed to him that I would take care of my 5 siblings and my mother. And then I had children of my own. And I realized the importance of becoming predictable to them in a way that they could then begin to build a foundation of themselves, of who they are, what they think, what they want. So, at the beginning when I asked you the question, how predictable am I? You should begin to take inventory of your life, the choices that you make, the things that you do on a daily basis. Are you predictable to those in which you seek to lead? And I would bet if you're being honest and taking real inventory, you'll realize you are unpredictable. I heard a story last week. There was a young boy who was flying a kite with his father. His father was next to him, helping him string the kite up. And the father said to the young boy, "Do you know what keeps the kite afloat?" And of course, the boy, like me, I'm a pilot, he said, "The air. The air keeps it up." That's what I would have said. And the father said, "No, it's not the air. It's the string." And the boy, of course, saying probably what I would have said, "That's stupid. That's not what keeps the kite up." And he says, "Okay, I understand, son. Let go of it. Let go of the string." So the boy, listening to his father, goes, "All right." And what happens? The wind takes the kite and dumps it about 200 yards away. They walk back over to the kite, and he says again to his son, "What keeps the kite afloat?" He says, "Well, maybe it's the string." And he said, "Grab the string." The son grabbed the string, and what happened? The wind took the kite, and it flew right back up. Sitting there with his young boy, he was teaching him a very, very simple lesson, the same lesson that I want to teach you guys. That string represents predictability. It's sure. It's a foundation. And the kite and the wind, those are dreams. Those are wishes. Those are confidence. All of us wish to have those. We wish to build those. We wish to give those to other people. The only way for us to do that is to give them the string to their kite. That string is predictability. Knowing without a doubt who and what you are. So, I could sit here on stage and tell you all the wonderful things that it takes to be a leader. I think being predictable is important. But if I don't teach you how, this is garbage. The whole speech is garbage. I wrote a book 3 years ago. I went through a divorce, and I just wrote a book haphazardly. And it became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And in the book, I was actually talking about divorce and the kind of things that you deal with in divorce. One of the chapters in the book was emotionless decision making. Now, as I dissect that book today, 3 years later, I realized the principle that I was trying to portray in that chapter was how to become predictable. So you seek to be a better leader. You become predictable. The only route to becoming a predictable leader is by choosing your actions, your words, your thoughts, and your decisions not on emotion. If I wished to help every one of you become a better human, to become a better leader, just to become a better person, I would plead with you. You need to take inventory of the emotions that control your thoughts on a daily basis. Now, if I had you tonight write down and take inventory of emotions you felt and the emotions that dictated your actions for that day, I would dare bet most of you would see that half or more of what you do is dictated by how you feel. Now, my father couldn't be predictable because health wouldn't allow it. And I don't think anybody in this room has that excuse. And maybe you do. But for those of you who don't, you must seek to take inventory and control of the emotions in which you feel every day. Am I angry? What does it make me say? What does it make me do? Am I sad? How do I react? Am I happy? Do I make a stupid buying decision? Am I horny? Do I have sex? Probably shouldn't. All of these emotions that each one of us have, I'm okay with. And to be very clear, I'm not telling you to have an emotionless life. I'd be the last person to tell you that. What I am saying is emotions are okay, but learning to control the actions that they dictate is when you become predictable to those around you. I'm going to share probably the hardest story I always share on stage pertaining to this. I am a father of 5 beautiful girls. And for some of you who are parents, you know how hard that is. Last year, my youngest, who's like identical to me, she's stubborn, she's crazy, she's either gonna burn the world down or she's gonna make it a better place. There's no in between. She was acting up one day, and I was crazy busy. I was stressed. I was dealing with some financial stuff, and she was acting like a retarded gangster. I wanted to kill her. I was so mad. And she's 1.5. And no joke, like if you met her, you'd be like, oh yeah, she's like 12. No. I hear her pacing in and out of the house, and she's screaming, kicking, flailing. And I'm like, okay, I am not in the mood for this shit today. And I was pissed. I had had such a stressful day. I had 14 hours of meetings and all this shit. I ran straight up, I grabbed her, I spanked the shit out of her, and then I threw her in her bed. And she stopped immediately. The retarded gangster was gone. She looked at me with eyes that I will never forget. Dad, how could you allow your emotions to dictate how you teach and discipline me? I fell to my knees. How could I, as her leader, allow the emotions to run so rampant that I would spank my 2-year-old daughter for acting the way that she didn't know either way? For that moment, I realized that I would never become unpredictable. I would never allow her to see unpredictability through my emotions, that I would lead with emotion, but not making it dictate the actions in which I took. Now, she was one. Each one of you have people in your lives that are begging you to build them a foundation. There are children, there are employees, there are family members who seek for you to become predictable, a foundation in which they can't find anywhere else. Their entire life is chaos. And you represent the leader to them. The foundation upon which you build for them is what allows them, one, to become successful, to become confident, to have power, to feel protected, to have provision. This is the truth. If your eyes could be opened and you could see the people who are waiting for you to give them a foundation, you would never cease trying to become more predictable for them. If you could see what they need from you, you would strive harder. You wouldn't guess and hope to become a better leader. You would work day and night like a savage to give them a foundation upon which they can build, a foundation upon which, if they build, they cannot fall. And when you give that to them, you become everything that they need as a leader. This is what I'll end with. I understand emotions will run wild. I am not on this stage telling you not to feel emotion because there are needs for it. I am here to teach you to become a more predictable leader by being predictable without the thought of what you have in your mind, of the emotion that you're feeling in that moment. If you wish to become a better leader, you must become predictable to those you lead, and you do that by creating a foundation of choices that you make with zero emotion attached to it, based on fact, not on how you're feeling. So tonight, how predictable am I? How predictable do I wish to become? And how do I begin to work on not allowing my emotions to dictate the predictability in which those who follow me can falter and fall because I'm not willing to be that? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bro. But I told these guys, you have the biggest heart in this room. You proved that one, brother. Thank you so much.